Thank you guys for coming out today. I'm actually going to start out telling you guys a little story about a day that happened about 10 years ago. So 10 years ago, we were in 2009, and at that time, my dad and I, along with about 5 other employees, had a single location farm down in Sarasota, and we grew about 300 acres of turf grass. So not the fun kind of grass like sod production. Okay, so at that time, it was the middle of the Great Recession, and we literally had very few people to sell our sod to. Most of it previously had gone out on new construction home sites, and the housing market had completely crashed. And so we were really struggling as a farm and as an operation. My dad and I would eat lunch together every day, and we would often have conversations like, what the hell are we gonna do? We need to figure out something else. We need to grow something else, and we need to create another source of income because we're struggling here. So we tossed around a lot of ideas. Produce kept coming up. I had a background, I went to college for horticulture. We had the land, we had the water, we had a decent knowledge base, and so we started growing some produce. That first year was pretty much an immediate failure. Okay, we had, I will give you an example. I had grown an acre of beautiful bell peppers. I had done some numbers and calculations, and on that acre of peppers, by the time I planted it, took care of it, grew it, picked it, packed it, we had about $18 to $20 per box tied up in a box of bell peppers. I loaded them up on a trailer, I took them to a wholesale distributor up in Ruskin, Florida, and the manager comes out and he says, "Hey Tiffany, how you doing?" I said, "Great, can you give me some money for these peppers?" And he says, "Well, I'm sorry, the market has crashed on the bell peppers, and I can give you about $8 a box on those peppers." And remember, I had 18 to 20 tied up in them. Okay, so that pattern really continued for us, unfortunately. We were growing and trying to sell on the wholesale market, and that wholesale market really fluctuates. It has nothing to do with the quality, really, of what you're growing. It just depends on the market, and that's influenced by big factors like Guatemala and trades and stuff that we as a small farmer have very little control of. So we were feeling pretty discouraged, and the day that I started the story with was a day I was hanging out at our shop ordering some parts, and this guy in a fancy car pulls up smoking a cigar, and I was 137% sure that he was going to try to sell us something. And he gets out and introduces himself as Mike Quillen, and he says, "I'm a friend of your dad's, and I understand you're growing some produce. I own a few local restaurants, and I'd like you to grow some produce for us." Well, I kind of had my head down, and I just said, "Listen, I appreciate that, but this produce thing really isn't working well for us." He continued to ask questions, he continued to encourage me, and that was the start of a lot of conversations which created the foundation of how we operate today. So today, we're really back on track. We farm in 5 locations. We grow about 700 acres of turf grass. We have about 25 employees. This will be our largest production with Honeyside Farms. On the produce end of things, we also will produce about 300 to 400 pounds of honey off of this farm, and we've started an all-natural beef line, the Florida Beef Alliance. So things are growing really well. I want to introduce Ida to you guys. She is new to the company. She is our grower. As the company's expanded, I've taken on a different set of responsibilities, and so she's really come in and helped with the day-to-day growing operations. She's great. She has a degree from University of Florida also, and just been a tremendous help with understanding, what we need to do out here in order to have something good for our customers and something, good for you guys. So let me tell you a little bit of how we operate. It's pretty unique compared to most farms. One thing that Mike and I talked about in the beginning was what we would need as a farm in order to be able to give you guys something consistent and good for y'all too. So again, it says that collaboration. And so one thing that we needed was guaranteed buy and a guaranteed price. And so how we make that work is months before we plant, I will get with your kitchen managers. Let's take, for example, Dana at State Road 70. I will say, Dana, we are going to plant these delicious yellow grape tomatoes, and they are going to come into harvest from November 5th to December 20th. How many cases a week do you think you'll use? And he'll say, Tiffany, I think we'll use about 5 cases a week. Okay, so we've done enough number crunching and record keeping that we know how many rows to plant to produce what you guys are asking for. The big agreement that you guys have with us is that you understand we are a farm, not a factory. So those crops out there don't consistently produce those 5 cases a week, right? Sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's 7. And you guys really roll with us with that. So that's really important, because we can bring you always those grape tomatoes, but sometimes it's going to be a little less than you may have wanted, and sometimes it's going to be a little more than you may have wanted. But it's not like Cisco or Cheney Brothers where you're just ordering exactly what you want. We hope that what we're providing, the benefits of it, the taste, the flavors, the health benefits, really outweigh that hopefully minor thing to deal with. But so that's really important, because that's what you guys do to make it work for us, and hopefully what we do to make it work for you is that you guys guarantee to roll with us through those fluctuations. You'll see a lot of tomatoes out there. That's one of the biggest things we produce. Right behind that, we have a couple acres of strawberries. So we planted about 15,000 strawberry plugs about 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah, October.
And those will start coming in just a little bit after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And they'll come in real heavy in January, February, March. Starting in mid-February, we have a U-pick where you can come out here with your families, your friends, and you pay per pound to pick strawberries. And usually we have a few other crops that you can pick as well. So that's it. That's a little background. I want to take you guys to see, the greenhouse and our fertilizer, and Ida's going to talk to you a little bit about, some other things we're doing, and then we'll touch on some stuff we have upcoming for the future. Sound good? Anyone have any questions right away?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I mentioned, are you still involved with the farmers markets?
Yep.
So they know locally in
Absolutely.
Sarasota?
Thank you for bringing that up. So we sell at 2 farmers markets. We're at the downtown Sarasota farmers market. That's on Saturday mornings, 7 to 1. And then we have not started the Philippi market on Wednesdays, but we will in 2 weeks. And that runs every Wednesday right by your new Geckos. It's at Philippi Farmhouse, Philippi Mansion. And that's a really good
So
market.
you get your produce locally.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So I want to thank everyone for coming here. I sincerely, each and every one of you. Like Tiffany says, this is a symbiotic partnership between us and them. So there's a lot of different facets. One, it's not easy to grow these products, but she has got to have you folks that are here right now helping to sell the products. That's the key. There's thousands of acres that you can grow, but people have to sell. So what I'm asking you is to take this wonderful partnership and take it to the next level, where it's telling your guests and telling the folks that didn't make it out here today that you work with every day what a cool thing this is. How many other restaurants do you think Mr. Chili's has got people out here talking to Tiffany tomorrow, or Mr. Appleby, or this is a really, really cool thing, folks, that it doesn't just happen. It's something, like she says, we've been working on this for 10 years, and it gets better and better and better every year. So send them to the farmers markets. You can get these fresh vegetables. I think going back to when it started, her dad and I were in a freezer dealing with something he'd shot, and we're walking through, and he's looking at the boxes of produce, and here's zucchini, and he says, wow, where do you think that came from? And I said, I don't know where it came from, Jack. And he says, well, it probably came from Central America, and they didn't put it on a jet plane to get it here. It took weeks to get here, so it was in the ground a long, long time ago. So, everybody, produce is such an important, food is what we do. People is the most important thing, which is you folks. But, so they started this, and it's something that they've worked so hard on, and there's been highs and many, many lows. And now with the beef, let's figure out how to get that going. They're working really hard on their end on that, but it's important, back to our Florida heritage and where we all came from. how many generations? You know what you're 4 or 5. You probably got
Yeah,
the
so
youngins out working in the
right.
fields.
Yeah,
now.
my kids are 5th generation,
Yeah.
Sarasota.
So that's a really cool thing. So don't take it for granted. You're here. You drove a long way to get here and find this freaking place, right? So
Yeah.
it's awesome. So thank you all again for
Yeah.
coming here.
No, thank you. And just to repeat a little bit of what you said, it really is about that extra effort that, Gecko's
We
hospitality
care.
group takes. You care.
Yep.
And, you guys, you have the ability to literally impact somebody's day, right? So the food that you put on that plate and the smile that you have on your face literally can make a difference to somebody. And you guys allowing us to have a part of that, we don't take that lightly. We feel like that's an amazing opportunity, a big responsibility, and we really appreciate it.
And the guests hopefully appreciate it and tell their friends, and they come in an extra day of the week. It'd be a lot easier to call Mr. Cisco every morning and say, send me a case of your zucchini from Honduras, and it tastes like plastic or doesn't taste like anything at all, really.
But it's
sits
cheap and
there on
easy,
the
so
plate.
this is
Cheap and
definitely an
easy.
extra effort here.
We pay more for these products, a lot more. She said. But anyway, it's all good and it's fun, and it's just part of what we do. We've been around for, I guess we're in our 28th year, so I sincerely thank every one of you as I look into your faces for coming out today, and we do appreciate your time and coming out here and the care. So good. We'll have a successful growing season coming up. Here we are at Honeyside Farms. This is Tiffany Bispin Bailey. I'm Mike Quillen. We have all of our wonderful staff and family here from Gecko's Grill and Pub. We've come out today to see what's happening, what's new with Honeyside Farms. We have been working together for about 10 years. This is a new location and a really new, exciting deal for Honeyside and Gecko's. There's a brand new location. Tiffany's been working very hard with her grower Ida and all her folks to create an organically grown produce field now. So she is upping her game. So Tiffany, tell us what's new at Honeyside for the year.
Yeah, well, like Mike said, we've been working together for a really long time, going on 10 years. So we really appreciate Gecko's and their extra efforts to work with our farm. We really have formed quite a partnership over time, and just really enjoy working with them. This year we are standing in our tomato crop, our beautiful tomato crop. We planted these in late August, early September, and there's some color just starting to turn on these plants, and we'll be harvesting these within about a week or 10 days. And that harvest will last about 6 to 8 weeks, all the way to about Christmas time. And so you guys should start seeing that on your plates and on your salads real soon, like I said, in about 7 to 10 days. We also have many other crops that we're growing. We always have about 20 different varieties of things in the ground at one time.
Wow.
And so what that does is it gives you guys a good variety to be giving to your customers all throughout our growing season. And so we're really excited to be working with you. Again, thank you for taking that extra effort to locally source your products and your produce.
So some of the things we'll be doing, so we've got the tomatoes, squash, zucchini already on the plates at Gecko's Grill and Pub. We also have things to look forward to, broccoli, cauliflower, hopefully maybe a little eggplant.
Yeah.
Something that is really, really cool that we're so excited about, I think it's our 3rd year, is locally grown cabbage, which is just incredible. So we are so excited about another growing season coming up that we're into, and awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys, and thank you for coming out to see the farm.